Blessings to you. My name is VerDarLuz, Shamanic astrologer and human design life coach, and really excited to talk to you guys. Happy Equinox 2014. I just wanted to share this video with you about a few things that are happening in the sky, some cosmic weather, specifically the Mars retrograde, which is in effect until May 19th. It started March 1st. So I want to talk about Mars retrograde in Libra. I also want to talk about Mars hanging out in the Spleen center in human design, basically this whole retrograde cycle and for about 6-7 months here. So a few different topics here covering both astrology and human design and some things to just watch for and some questions to ask during this cycle. So Mars. Okay, Mars is, this aggressive planet of action and direct energy out in the world. Mars is really like our third chakra, our will center. And Mars only stays in a sign for about 2 months usually, but every couple of years he goes retrograde. And this is a big deal because during this cycle he'll be in a sign for about 8 months. Now, he started his journey in Libra back in the middle of December, and he's actually there until July. That's a long time, July 25th, actually. And this is a long time for Mars to inhabit a sign. And so what happens during a retrograde, again, which started March 1st and moves till May 19th, is that the planet and what it represents becomes more of an internalized process for us. And it's a bit more difficult or challenging at times to activate that planet externally. So when we think about Mars, we think about, well, this is what I want to do. This is my desire nature. This is my passion. I'm going to go out there and act upon something, really make something happen. Well, what happens during the retrograde, which we're currently experiencing during the equinox time period right now, is that we may feel like our actions aren't moving as quickly or as efficiently as they may have before. Now, basically, Mars is retrograde is asking us to go within ourselves and say, hey, what really motivates me in everything that I'm doing in my life? The especially the current relationships in my life, because Mars is in Libra. What's motivating me with my work, with where I'm putting my artistic energy, another Libran theme. What's motivating me or driving me, in terms of travel or how I'm earning money. All of these areas, we're looking at our primary motivation, and it's an important time to reconsider, and be basically, think a lot before we act. Now, sometimes a Mars retrograde can feel frustrating if we're working on certain projects in our life, if we have certain ventures that we're about to take, travels or things like that. So we have to be aware that because Mars is a planet of heat and passion and fire, that this cycle can bring up more irritations and annoyances, that things aren't moving maybe as quickly as we would like. The god of war really likes things to move fast. So we may really want to be looking at our reactive tendencies during this cycle. Now, this is really important because Mars is in Libra. And Mars doesn't rule Libra, rules Libra's opposite sign of Aries. So this can make some of these Mars and Libra themes really enhanced, like decision making that takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and one of the Libra tendencies is to weigh everything out, and that can sometimes be a bit frustrating for Mars's long-term placement in Libra. We may feel indecisive. We may feel like we can't move forward very quickly. We may be a little bit more defensive. And this is also true for a very interesting reason. People that were born through the years of 1970 and 1984, they have the planet Pluto in Libra. And this is really important because what's happening basically from about January through July is that this generation of souls born 1970 to 84 have Mars traveling back and forth and multiple times over their Pluto. Now that's really significant because when Mars crosses Pluto, it always can bring up our unconscious and especially our shadows, jealousies, possessiveness, control, um, where I'm still holding on and resisting. Um, so what this can do for us in this cycle is this generation specifically, they're here to actually transform and shapeshift and evolve the archetype of Libra, the archetype of relationships. And so this is a really important time for this generation and for all of us collectively to be really looking at our relationships very honestly, engaging in them transparently, and recognizing that pretty much across the board, the people that we're very intimate with, that we're sharing deeply with, that we're creating with, that we're sharing our lives with, they're going to be revealing things in this cycle about ourselves that may not be so comfortable. Shadow patterns, holding patterns, um, and this is part of our soul contracts that are being realized right now. This is a big cycle that we're all going through in collectively, really this whole decade, but these couple years of 2013, 14, 15, there's a lot of collective energy with the nodes of the moon and with this Mars retrograde cycle that really signify um, conscious relating and the evolution of our intimacy. It's a good time to be looking at these systems like human design and astrology to study what's motivating us in relationship, what are my relationship intent. Um, this is one of the things I love teaching. I have an Art of Partnership course about this. It's really all about studying Venus and Mars and the god and goddess and what do I need to feel honored in relationship and being really clear about that and direct about that in your connections and seeing why do I keep attracting the same kinds of people in my life. This Mars retrograde in Libra is really a beautiful opportunity for that. And it's also time to really consider, if things aren't moving so quickly, what uh, why is that coming up? Is this really what I want? Um, so really examining that is very valuable at this time. Now, the other thing that's happening with human design currently in this Mars cycle in Libra, Mars retrograde in Libra, is that Mars is hanging out this entire 8 months for the most part in the spleen center in human design. Now, a little bit about the spleen is that the spleen is the oldest center according to human design in all of living beings, all of the biological beings, the mammals, the reptiles, the birds, they all have a spleen. The spleen is a very primal part of who we are. It's a flight or fight mechanism. It perceives threats in our environment and it says, okay, I need to run away from this or this is healthy for me. And so the center of the spleen actually has a lot to do with health and immunity. Now, if we go deeper and we see that some people have a defined spleen, usually they can run, you know, their energy, their health, and they have a pretty good immune system. Sometimes they'll push themselves to the edges, and they won't feel the repercussions of it right away. Maybe later on in their life they will. Um, though people who have an undefined spleen tend to feel when they push themselves. If they're drinking too much, partying too much, if they're in an environment that's not so healthy for them, they usually will feel it. Usually diet comes up as something they need to study right away. So what happens now, this spleen center, this flight or fight mechanism, it also actually has a lot to do with the fear response in us. So there's about 8 different fears we associate with the spleen. Fear of responsibility, fear of inadequacy, fear of the future, fear of the past, fear of failure, fear of death, fear of authority. It's about 7 actually. And those are all the different gates or hexagrams that are in the spleen center. Well, Mars is moving through a lot of these during this cycle. And again, Mars creates defenses, confrontation, conflict, battle at times. Put him in the center of fear, right? And you could see that there could be uh, some struggles, some tensions, some strife that can come up for us in our relationships. And yet, the very ironic thing about this, Mars is in Libra. So we're learning to see that, well, whatever's being revealed in terms of some tension is really necessary for us to work out here, for us to become more conscious of. Because Libra is about that harmonious and balanced relating. And so if certain fears are coming up, I don't feel good enough, fear of inadequacy, fear of the past is really, oh, well, last time in a relationship it looked like this, so it's probably going to be like that with you this time, or fear of the mystery of I don't know what's coming. These are really important for us to address in our connections at this time. So um, just a little bit there about the spleen center. Mars is journeying through there during this cycle. You may be a little bit on the edge, but you may be motivated to really work out what's healthy for you or not in all your relationships. Hope that's been helpful for everyone. Come check me out on shamanstorch.com, my new website. I am doing some spring equinox specials right now, the next couple weeks. If you'd like to do a discounted session, hit me up. We got a big cardinal cross coming. I'm going to have some other videos about that. Mid-April, Mars, Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus, a huge, huge cardinal cross in the sky. If you're going to be affected by that, if you have planets in the middle degrees of the cardinal signs, life is going on a big roller coaster ride, and the eclipses are coming in at the same time. So lots coming up. Good time for readings and checking in with yourself and your loved ones. So much love to you all. Take care. Namaste.